if you've heard all these things and you've thought all these things and you've been inspired by all of these amazing talks and conversations, but you don't do anything with it, and you just let it soak out of yourself and it just kind of spills and you don't know where it went, man, what a missed opportunity.
So I think once you leave GIE, you kind of are a little bit overwhelmed because you know that you've just found a lot of really good tools to add to your belt, but you don't know how to execute to make everything, put into place to actually integrate it into your company.
One of the saddest days is Friday at GIE because that means you have to go home. You can't stay here, they say. It closes 1 or 2 o'clock. You gotta get back in your car, an airplane, you gotta go back. But one of the sobering reminders is now, after everything you've just been exposed to and soaked in and absorbed, you can't just have it sit there and melt. You've gotta implement it and you've gotta activate it. One of the hardest things to do is to put action steps that actually make sense for your business into everything you've heard, seen, and thought over the course of the last 72 hours. And my biggest challenge and my biggest, hope for anyone who goes to GIE is how can you have actual action points and steps that you can apply to your business?
What are we gonna do different tomorrow? And so I just think you get home, you're kind of excited, right? But then if you jump on a mower Monday, it just kind of you're just back on a lawnmower, right? You're digging holes, putting trees in the ground, you're doing whatever whatever you do. And so I think, you see a lot of guys taking a lot of notes, but what are they gonna do with them? Everybody on our team, we recite our core values at the start of every strategic meeting. We recite our core values at every safety meeting. Like, are we all on the same page?
How do you implement it? First thing, I think, is you go and you write down any and everything you can remember and imagine. You go and write down things you're feeling and your emotions about it so that you can remember how, your mindset. Then you just write down practical steps. Don't do anything visionary, huge changes. Write down, okay, get jobber, go buy a PermaGreen, go get me some edger blades from Oregon, whatever it is, like something tangible and easy to do very quickly. Making sure that you've got these, bullet points of checks, check. And then once you've got those checks done, then you start thinking next level. You start going, okay, what's my 90-day plan? What's my 2022 plan? Those couple, physical things you can do are a game changer. And then the third one that I think is maybe even more important is getting some type of business mentor or coach on your team. Whether that's a guy whose business you really respect in your area and paying for his biscuit once a month and just saying, hey, how'd you do this? I need your advice. How'd you fire somebody? Or, now with technology and with connecting all over the world, find someone you respect online or Instagram or, at GIE and have a real business consultant and a coach because, just like you need to learn how to be better in your marriage, in your relationships, in life, you need to learn how to be a better business owner. You don't need to do it on your own. You need to have somebody who's been there, done that, and then, you pass that on too. One day you end up being mentor, mentee. So those are the three things for me is having a action plan of like just easy, tangible steps, then having a vision plan, and then the third one is get you a business mentor or business coach as soon as you can.
So Oregon came and gave me some of these blades, but I can only take so many on the plane. So you take a set, I'm gonna take a set, and we're gonna go give a set away at the show. So
thanks, bro.
You're welcome.
These guys.
Yeah.
With COVID, we had so much disconnect for so long that people got comfortable not seeing each other and talking on the phone. And I feel like GIE reminds you that in person and that relationship is still the most important thing about life.
Yes.
Not just because your business is one thing, but life is the most important thing. And so you're right, running into booths on people who are, innovating all the time. Like that's something that the biggest takeaway for me personally, aside from that, is like the innovation and the craziness of this world and our business and the hiring issues, that you come here, you feel supported, encouraged, inspired, but also like the innovation. I go back to innovation. Like, man, there's so many amazing, things like, one of the softwares that couldn't be here that I use a lot is NiceJob. And they have given us over 15 new Google reviews because of this innovation. I had no idea it was there until like a month ago. Yeah. And normally they're here, but because of COVID, but that innovation has transformed my business. Like they did something that no one was really doing well, and now we've gotten 15 new Google reviews, which puts us up the scale on Google, which leads us to getting better leads. And like there's hundreds of companies today that were like that. We can name 10.
You get an entire different mix of people. Like I had talked to that guy for a while, but I'll definitely say like my favorite part of this entire trip was like learning the people behind the brand. Like there's so many softwares, like the software that I use, for instance, that Go Ilon, I got to meet the guys that were behind it, and they were so personable. I mean, Aaron, I met, I introduced you to them, and it's so cool. Which we had talked about earlier. I love the green industry so much. I mean, everybody out there is out there to help each other grow, progress. And, firsthand this week, we got to experience the big names and the guys that are out there that truly care about, your personal success. Yeah. They're not trying to sell you a product that, they're not. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're all out there trying to sell, but you can tell the genuine people behind everything.
Just like a great phrase for it's growing together.
Yeah.
Like we're all on the same platform, and we're growing and fusing together to hopefully rise, because that's something I've been reminded of this week, is we're not competing with each other. Right. Like that's nice, because in our businesses, we're always like looking at other companies in our cities. We're like, oh, I got to be better than them, and I've got to have nicer stuff or win that sale. But like at GIE, it feels like it's like the competition's over, and you're not having to, exhausted from always trying to win or lose or whatever. You're just like, like I can just listen and grow with the people here, and then go home and hopefully have these, beautiful seeds that I can plant back home that can, turn into, that's the cool thing, right? Turn into what? Like I leave here every time like, man, what did I take this right now that can do something crazy when I go back home and change my business, change my life?
Kory, like Kory was mentioning, like you take this information back home, and you can't wait to meet with your team and just get all hype about it. But how are you going to handle that? Like how do you show these guys like what you want? Like you bring back so much information, and how do you take that home? Like, guys, I learned all this this week. Yeah. How can we implement this? Vision board, company vision board, growing your business to this, and giving them a visual. Kory had so many gold nuggets there when he was talking, just freestyling, listening to all the guy's been through everything. Yeah. And he had so much. I mean, you saw me. I was over in the corner. I was taking notes on my phone. I was like, this guy's awesome.
Well, what's crazy is there's guys who feel the same way about us, right? Like in whatever scale that is, every guy has something to give to somebody else. Like givers gain mentality. If you give, you gain, and you it's just so transferable. And in this industry, everybody's so willing, to give a piece of advice, or I don't know. It's just incredible the culture that's within the green industry.
Yeah. I have so much within me that needs to get out. Like there's so much that I've learned in 2021 that is just kind of here, you know what I mean? It hasn't really gotten out, and even just this week it's been even so much more. Like you said, Trey, we talk a lot, like we text back and forth all the time, but which is amazing. Like it's such a huge thing for me as a young business owner. But like GIE and the conversations I've had here and the innovation and products that I've seen here that I didn't even know about, like things like that. Like I've grown very quickly, even like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
But I've also grown a lot throughout this last season, and that's what kind of separates like just a person who has a job doing landscaping to someone who has a company is like taking that leap of Like it's all within me, but how can I get it like out for my guys? Like how can I show the crew that this is what we're doing and this is where we're headed? And that takes a lot. I think it's a lot of learning for me, and I think it's just time to take that step and just realize, you know, I gotta cast vision. Like my job is shifting from cutting grass all day every day, listening to podcasts and developing myself to like everything I've learned for so long like needs to be given to somebody else now, you know what I mean?
Well, as good as it's been, it has to end at some point, but guess what? We'll see you next year. So GIE 2022,
Can't miss it.
we'll be there.
I'll be here for sure.
Be there.
Every year in Louisville, Kentucky, there's a gathering of men and women, CEOs and weekend warriors gathered to do one thing: to grow. GIE may have started as just an expo, but it's become more than that. Every year we gather to encourage and build up one another to a level we would have never achieved on our own. We gather to challenge and push each other to the next step. We gather to pick each other up when we've fallen. GIE isn't just an expo. It's a team, a tribe, a family. 2021 has come and gone, and we've all left to take what we've learned and put it into action. But we'll gather again. So, if you haven't joined us, this is your chance, your opportunity, your invitation. When October comes around again, are you going to decide to stay where you are? Or will you join our family and grow together?